There's an earthquake. That was terrifying. Though I did get to say the bracha for an earthquake, which is something I don't get to say a lot. It's Shekolcho uvrato malei olam, that blessed are you, Adonai our God, rules the universe, whose strength and might fills the entire world. So it was at least a bracha opportunity, though it was terrifying. There's a mix in that, sort of like that sense, especially during an earthquake, that you are smaller than the world, that we are not the masters of nature, but we're part of something larger than ourselves, and that a sense of humility is sort of like super appropriate, for me at least, when I was running out of the synagogue building. Look, that sense of smallness, that sense that there are things that are out of our control, is ever present. In the ongoing tragedy that is the Gaza war, that tragedy all around, but especially apparent this week when aid workers were killed by Israeli fire, unnecessarily, in an incident that has been sort of reported, and that Israel has held those responsible, and so forth. It shows part of the tragedy of people suffering and people dying unnecessarily, and part of that smallness is recognizing that in certain situations, one is faced with only bad options. And the option of leaving Hamas in charge in Gaza will just lead to more suffering and deaths of Israelis and Palestinians. And, of course, going forward with the war will lead to more deaths of Israelis and Palestinians. There are no good options out there. That's part of what a tragedy is. We can only go through this, I think, with a sense of humility, and that we have to face our own shortcomings. That's part of what's in the Torah this week. At the very beginning of Parshat Shmini, it says that Moses has to urge Aaron to offer the first egel on the altar. An egel, of course, is a calf, which reminds one of the golden calf, the scene of Aaron's greatest mistake. And the Midrash is that Moshe has to push Aaron to do this because because his moment of great triumph, becoming the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, is reminiscent of the moment of his greatest shame, when he failed in a big way with the Egel HaZahav, with the golden calf. So that sense of facing our shortcomings in order to achieve our greatness, I feel like that's part of what we have to bring out of moments like this. And as we move forward closer to Passover, we should have this. A sense of humility, a sense that sometimes there aren't good options, and that sometimes, as in the Passover story, the best result possible isn't free from suffering, and it isn't free from negatives. And looking for some sort of perfect way to go about life, usually that's not in the cards. Shabbat Shalom.